Hi, everyone. Lisa Schmitz here with Do Something Indy. And it's been a little bit since we've done a show. The month of May is a little crazy for us and just a lot of things going on. But we are back at it with a guest who I have been trying to get on the show for a while. I have been on her show. She is doing a lot in Indianapolis to promote locally owned businesses. I am a member, and so I have one of the vintage shirts on, our Indiana Originals, but I am going to bring on Mel McMahon Stone, who is with Indiana Owned. Hi, Mel.
Hi.
Founder of Indiana Originals, which is now Indiana Owned.
Mm-hmm.
And so give us a little bit about you, Mel, and how this whole thing got started.
Sure, happy to. So my background, I'm born and raised in Indianapolis, right? Grew up in Irvington on the east side. I went to high school in a very small town called Ferdinand in southern Indiana, did undergrad in Bloomington, and just grew up around local businesses, entrepreneurs. My mom was an entrepreneur, or entire line of family entrepreneurs. And I guess it was just always kind of in my blood, but I never intended on starting a business. So my background's actually in broadcasting and business development. So longtime radio DJ, done a few TV stints. By a few, I mean I used to be a VJ on a music television station, traffic reporter, all kinds of things. And one day I finished a show at the studios on Monument Circle. Other side, there you go. And my now husband and I were walking around the circle, wanted to go someplace local for dinner. And a new Italian restaurant had opened up. And I looked at him and said, "Is it local?" He's like, "I don't know." I said, "Well, how do you know if it's local?" And in the spring of 2012, there really wasn't an answer, right? There wasn't a sticker. Apps weren't really a thing. I found one PDF online, but it had franchises on it, which is not what I was looking for at the time. And along the way, we found a lot of people like us that would support local businesses if they could identify them faster and easier. And we found a lot of local business owners who were really proud of what they had built and wanted people to know that they were our neighbors. So in May of 2014, we launched the first website, which was indianaoriginals.com. And what started as a very simple business directory is now really, kind of an association of all these business owners across the state and the consumers that support them that want to create healthier, stronger communities and more jobs in Indiana. So it was originally just independent businesses, but in the September of last year, so fall of last year, we rebranded as Indiana Owned, which is what we're known as now. And we have a franchise division as well. So we're acknowledging those local neighbors that own franchises and are really giving back to our community too.
Which is so amazing. So I want to go back to the Indiana Originals and hi to the little ones in the family.
Yeah, it's a family business.
Yeah, so that's the luxury of being able to do
you know what?
kind of
Mama's on a live TV show right now. Can I have that back?
I want to Mama.
Well, where's your daddy?
Bring him on. Let him sit in
Where's your daddy?
Daddy.
Daddy's downstairs. Okay. Maybe daddy will come get you.
That's the beauty of being able to do this from home, right? It is real life.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. So
I have Scarlett, my little miniature wiener dog, under the table where you are on screen. And thankfully she's old and she sleeps all the time. So she probably won't wake up. But every now and then she does.
Yeah.
So let's go back to that, that desire to support locally owned businesses.
Yeah.
And you mentioned your mom was an entrepreneur, but you hadn't been an entrepreneur. So so what ignited that passion in you to actually do it? It couldn't have been just that experience of trying to find an Italian restaurant, right?
Well, I just always felt I could help.
Yeah.
When I worked in radio, I found myself working with clients all the time that needed a way to tell their story. They needed to stand out. They wanted to do something different, right? And same thing when I went into business development. I was working with businesses that were in one of two places. They were doing really, really great, wanted to give back and wanted to share that story, or they weren't doing so great and really needed like some positive PR. They needed a way to shine the light on what they were doing and boost employee morale. And so I loved working with business owners. And, I've never been a planner. Like I was always the right place at the right time kind of person. And that's really how I got every single job.
Yeah.
And it was my husband, Lance, who was really like, no, I think we have a business here. Like this can be a business. And I trusted him, and I'm so glad that I did.
So I resonate with that, with having a spouse that inspires and encourages and helps cultivate those ideas, which is why I am in my studio right now, and the sun is setting right now, and I'm so sorry. It's like so bright.
No, you're good. I love everything in your background. It reminds me of the room that is next door.
Yeah.
To me.
Well, this is my happy space. Like this is my studio space, and I have my art over to this side.
Yeah.
You know, it's just I wouldn't be living this out if I didn't have someone in my life who helped inspire and foster that. Right. So tell me, whether it's related to Indiana owned or you personally, what does community involvement really mean to you?
Community is something I have always been a part of, always witnessed, and without even knowing it, was always building. You know, it starts small, it starts little, you know, getting into Girl Scouts in kindergarten as a daisy, right? You're building a community.
Yeah.
You know, becoming a brownie, becoming a junior. If you're wondering, you know, once a Girl Scout, always a Girl Scout, right?
Yes, yes.
Growing up in Irvington, right? The pride that the residents have of that neighborhood, which sometimes can be kind of snotty. You know, like somebody like, oh, where do you live? Oh, I'm at 13th and Riley. I'm sorry, that's Little Flower.
Yeah,
That's not Irvington, you know, but there's that pride, like you are proud to belong to something. And high school was amazing. I went to an all girls boarding school in Ferdinand, ran by the Sisters of St. Benedict. So we lived in a dorm next to this giant castle on the hill, right?
Yeah.
That was a community. And so I learned so much about community and taking care of each other and taking care of others, right? Because what was different about their community is they weren't cloistered. Not everyone lived on the hill. There were veterinarians, there were lawyers, there were teachers, there were missionaries. They had all of these jobs out in the real world, right? And you'd ask, like, why aren't you wearing a habit? It's like, oh, well, we're working undercover.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and it was just, it's about building a great place for people to live and to thrive. You know, same thing in Bloomington, right? Like you had that spirit of taking care of others. And, you know, I mentioned my mom was an entrepreneur. She owned a company. It was called Child Care Consultants, your Family Resource Connection. And she did so many things to help people live their best lives, right? She did supervised visitation and taught parents who had had their kids removed because of drug and alcohol addiction how to be parents again. She opened a special needs preschool for kids with emotional challenges that didn't qualify for other developmental preschool programs because they didn't exist at the time. And she created that to give kids a chance.
Yeah.
Right? Because every individual matters. And so I think that's always been a part of me and something I really enjoy. You know, now we live in Jamestown, Indiana. So there's not even 1,000 people in my town.
Yeah.
And it's completely different. You know, last night we went out to dinner and we went to the new Mexican restaurant that opened up on Main Street. La Loteria. La Loteria is what it's called. And I posted a picture of it on Facebook, and they just had great tacos, right? And there's this table next to us that was asking about what I ordered. So I start talking to them, and it turns out the older lady at the table is my neighbor. And by neighbor, I mean she lives half a mile down the road because I'm in the middle of nowhere. But she was my neighbor, right? And that neighbor went to a movie with a cousin of our babysitter, you know, and it's just like everybody is connected, right? Without us even really knowing it. And that's why it's so important that we take care of each other.
Yeah.
And so it's just something that's always been in me. And once I learned more about small businesses, about their impact in our communities, it really opened my eyes to the difference between whether they're there or not.
Yeah.
You look at the towns that don't have small businesses, they're not thriving.
Right.
Their residents are not doing well.
Yeah.
They don't have that sense of community. But when you have active, involved business owners creating jobs, those are the ones who are fighting for that community to be strong and to stay strong.
Yeah.
And it's something that I can't shake.
Yeah.
You know, being a business owner is tough, right? And you wonder, like, should I still be doing this, right? You can be great at 10 a.m. and by 10:30, you're like, what was I doing?
I know.
Right? Yeah. But it's just, man, it just keeps coming back to that mission to create healthier, stronger communities and more jobs in Indiana.
Yeah, absolutely. And everything you just said is everything that John and I have been living for the last, we bought this building for the studio in 2015. So 7 years.
Yeah.
And it is so true. Like once you realize how much of an impact that small business can have on just this little community. I have a 14-year-old young lady who has been working for me and helping me prep flowers with my floral business. And she's even gone and helped set up weddings, and she's phenomenal. And so, just having that kind of impact with the people that are living it every day in this neighborhood, I think is so huge. And so you kind of touched on my next question is, how does supporting local business impact our communities? I think you just kind of answered that actually, but maybe expand on that just a little bit.
Yeah, I'm happy to. So there are so many impacts that local businesses have that we don't even realize, right? When you spend $100 with a local business, about 68 of those dollars stay right here in your local community. If you go to a national chain, it's somewhere in the 40s.
Yeah.
Right. And then franchises fall in between there. Right. So when you're spending money with a local business or a franchise, you're keeping more money in your community. That money, a lot of times, gets recycled in the community, right? It's going out in payroll or other local business owners supporting other local business owners, right? Same thing with taxes, right? Local businesses are the ones paying taxes.
Yeah.
Okay. I can think of a hardware store near 71st and Keystone that's paying over $100,000 a year in taxes, right? But you have these big box stores from other states that come in. What's the first thing in the news headline? Their tax breaks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Because we're giving them incentives to move here.
Exactly. And then you know what happens when those tax abatements are up? They can just pick up and move to a different town, right?
Yeah.
When people live here, they're invested.
Yeah.
Right? You are supporting the people that support the local nonprofits. Local business owners donate twice as much money to local nonprofits than national foundations and national businesses.
Yeah.
And oftentimes those donations are recurring.
Yeah.
Right? It's not a one and done concept. The other thing that we need to think about too, especially now, is the environmental impact. Right? When you support a local business, or when that local business is sourcing from businesses around them, the negative environmental impact is so much smaller.
Yeah.
Right. So there are a ton of reasons. We have a lot listed on the homepage of our website, indianaowned.com, if you want more details or any citations for anything I just shared with you.
Yeah. Which you have a ton of resources. So, so I will say, I don't only have the shirt. I am a member of Indiana Owned. And so we're represented with the Mars Hill Art Center, Where Pigs Fly and such, and even my little side hustle for the Love of Speedway, which you spent a lot of time in Speedway today. And so I am all about promoting all of those Indiana-owned businesses, and really sharing the love and doing everything that you just talked about.
Yeah.
So, so let's come to the phrase of our show. I hear the little one down there.
Yeah, he's not allowed to be on camera. Like,
okay.
So that's he's upset because he's not allowed to be broadcasted on the internet.
Okay.
So,
well, yes, and we understand that. I totally understand that and respect that.
Yeah.
But so we are Do Something Indy. And for us, Do Something Indy is all about not just saying the things that you believe in or preaching the things you believe in, but getting out there and actually doing something about it, which you have obviously done with Indiana Originals, Indiana Owned. How would you describe that to someone else? What Do Something Indy, just the phrase itself, would mean to you?
No matter where we are, we have to be active in our participation, right? If you want change, you have to be the change. And I believe that to my core.
Yeah.
And I see so many people complaining about stuff, but they don't do anything. And that's what Do Something Indy is about for me, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you want the change, you have to be the change. If you want someone else to change, look at yourself first.
Yeah.
If you want your community to change, what can you do to make it better?
Yeah.
So,
can I high five you right now?
Sure. Boom.
So that is the whole reason that Do Something Indy even got started, was the C word. So John has what he calls the killer C's, and that's one of them, is complaining. And you can't just complain about something. You got to be willing to step up and do something about it. I think even in the last few weeks, we've had a lot of things that have come out in the news that are people are happy to talk about, but what are we gonna do about inspiring the actual change? And what are we gonna do to impact, all of these things that we say we're passionate about? So so I want to come back to, and one of the things I don't think I'd mentioned to you was that I wanted to bring up on this is how we know each other. So do you happen to remember how we met?
No, I was actually going to ask you that because you just brought that up, and I'm like, how did we meet?
I remember.
I know how I met John. I met him at the Flower and Patio show.
Yes.
But we met before then.
We met way before that. So we met at Jennifer Magley's first gathering that she had on the north side when you were one of the speakers.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome that you remember that. Usually I'm really good at that stuff, but I had a horrible concussion in September of 2019.
Oh, shoot.
And so if it's before that, I have to go back and find it somewhere.
Well, yeah. So I found out a couple of years ago that I've had a minor stroke too. So I claim that all the time.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Nuts.
Yeah. So you were one of the speakers, but I think there was something that you mentioned in your talk that I really resonated with, and I went up to you afterwards and talked to you about it, and I can't remember now what it was. But yeah, so we connected.
Where were we? What was the location? Do you remember?
It was the brewery.
Oh,
Restaurant. 86th and I'm trying to remember the name of the
District Tap.
Yes, maybe.
Yeah.
And there were like 5 or 6 of you that were the speakers.
Yeah, like a panel.
Yes. And so I took away, and I'm sorry, the sun is so bright.
We can't see it. We can't see it the same way you are. You're good. So
one of the things that I took away from that event was something that she did that I still was doing some HR stuff at the time. And so I thought, I'm gonna steal that because it was so amazing. So we all ended up at tables of like 4 or so. And like every time we took a break, she made us all switch.
Yeah.
And sit with different people so that we would get to know different people in the room.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really cool. I want to say that was probably about 6 or 7 years ago. It's been a while.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, and then we just kept crossing paths. We crossed paths at the Flower and Patio show. Yep. I can't remember where else, but there've been a few times. And then, of course, I wanted to be a member.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a part of the cool club.
I want to be in the club.
Yeah, I know. Be with the cool kids.
Yeah, I love it. Well, I'm so glad you are, because you are the definition of the type of member that we want to promote, right? With that mission of creating healthier, stronger communities and more jobs in Indiana. If you're a business owner and you feel strongly about that, you're the kind of business we want to promote, right? And you're the kind of owner that's really going to get a lot out of what we do, because we go out of our way to find promotional opportunities for you, right? Yeah. We go out of our way to make sure that we have the logo available to you. And it's on billboards, it's on TV commercials, it's on websites, it's all over social media, it's on products, right? And so as soon as people see that logo, they know it's local.
Yeah.
And they're more likely to buy from you because that's important to them too.
And I eat, breathe, sleep that stuff. Like I have the sticker on my car. We have the sticker on the front of the art center, because that's how I like to shop. Yeah. My kids don't always like that because they always give us a list of things that they want for holidays.
Yeah.
But I would rather buy from someone who I know is local, whether it's a local artist, a local business owner. Because I know, like you said, the statistic of the amount of money that's going back into not only their business, but the community that they're in is so much greater than if you buy from a retail chain.
Right. And the thing is too, like, you don't know what other opportunities you're creating by supporting that business, right? Today we had an amazing lunch and learn where we invited our members that make products to learn how they can get into Menards.
Yeah.
Across the country, right? Like those are the opportunities that we're creating. And because they've had support of the local community, they're able to get their business to that level. Yeah. And then think of how much they can give back to the community.
Yeah.
Right. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible.
Okay, so let's touch on what you do and how any other local business owners can get involved and what benefits you provide.
Yeah, sure thing. So everything that we provide, you can find at indianaowned.com. You're back. How did you get back here? I thought Daddy took you outside. I know, honey. I'm sorry, but you're not allowed to be on camera. You want to just listen? Here. How about you do this? Give me 1 second.
There,
Here.
yes. Let him
Here you
listen.
go.
Yes.
There you go.
And you and I need to talk offline about this at some point.
Yeah, I sure will.
So, you know.
I sure will. Skip that. Hit skip. There you go. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So really at our core, Indiana Owned is a promotions and branding company, right? So we help you brand your business as local, and then we help you find promotional opportunities. My husband just saw that he came back in the house. It's not working. Oh my goodness. So we help you find promotional opportunities to promote your business. So that could be on indianaowned.com. It could be getting you into a store like Menards. It could be getting you on TV. It could be take him with you. It's okay. You're okay, buddy. You're okay. It could be.
Okay, so stop at the getting you on TV part.
Yeah.
Because I've been part of that too. So explain that real quick.
Yeah, so we have lots of different media partners. Two of those are Wish TV 8, which is the local channel here, and Fox 59. Those are local channels. So we help people get on the news if they have a big story. We help them get on Lifestyle Live on Wish TV 8 or Indy Now on Fox 59 if they have something they want to demo or a great story to share.
Yeah.
And those are opportunities that you don't normally get on your own, right?
Yeah.
But we have relationships with these businesses. I used to be a traffic reporter on Fox 59's Morning News. So they've known me there for a long time, and we've been on Wish TV 8 for 6 years now, going on 7. And so we have these relationships. And so when I'm like, hey, I have a great story for you, they listen, right? They take my pitch seriously, and they trust that I'm going to give them great content.
Yeah.
And so we do the same thing with magazines. We do the same thing, helping people get discounts with direct mail opportunities, right? Like one of our partners is Reach Magazine in Valpak. If you're an Indiana owned member and you're starting a relationship with Reach or Valpak, you get 20% off whatever you're buying from them.
Yeah.
With using the logo, right? So it's about finding these opportunities for you that you might not normally get on your own or get discounted because we all work together, right? So it's kind of that co-op mentality, but it's more of a discount than having to put money into a big pot that we all split.
Well, it's like, we joked about being in the cool club and, with the cool kids. But it is like being in a club that is going to get you all these benefits that as a business owner, I may not, number one, have access, but I might not even know. Like, I don't even know who to call. I don't know how to get in with all of those media outlets, but being part of your organization, and it's a membership.
Yeah.
But I would say that personally, the membership cost for me is nominal. Like it is so worth it I'm a very small business, very small business.
Yeah.
And it's still financially worth it for me.
Right. And so, and we recently changed our membership model too, right? So in that first level, you can get certified local one time, right?
Yeah.
We let you pay all at once. You can pay in installments and you're in. If you want the additional promotional opportunities that are available, those are still there and you can still renew those. But we want it to be accessible to everybody.
Yeah.
Right. And so getting certified local is super important because that's what gets you the logo. That's what gets you on the website. And that's what gets you access.
Yeah.
And then when you're in those higher promotional levels, that's when, we're doing videos, you have highlighted listings, we're writing and producing and spreading out broad blog articles. There's a lot involved there. And I have everything on the website. I'm very transparent.
Yeah.
All the pricing is there. Like I don't hide anything. And once you become a member, you get a video welcome from me. And I invite you to set up a 20-minute discovery meeting with me. So if we haven't talked before, I can learn about your business.
Yeah.
Because yes, people will find you on the website, but if I know about your business and I know what your goals are, it's much easier for me to think about opportunities when I'm having conversations and I'm like, ooh, I have someone that could really use that. Or, oh, you know what? I know exactly who you need. And that's what really my piece of the puzzle comes in.
And that is what I would say about you. If I had to give a descriptor to Mel, is you are a connector. Like you connect people. And I think that's probably one of the biggest benefits to your personality in this role with what you're doing is that you are such a great connector
Thank
of
you.
businesses and people.
Thank you. Well, and those relationships are important. I always talk to people like, don't burn bridges because you never know when you're going to have to cross it again.
You never know. In fact, I want to speak to that real quick. So there's an organization that I did some consulting for right after I left my corporate gig. And it was, one of those really small nonprofits that ended up having to eliminate a couple of positions. Mine was one of them. I'm a recovering HR executive. So for that person to have to lay me off after, I've had 26 years in HR and Indy, had to have been the hardest conversation this young man who's not ever had to fire anybody ever had to do. But now I, as a business owner with my floral business, have done some work for them after the fact.
That's awesome.
As a small business owner. And so, for me, that was one of the best things that ever happened to me because it like pushed me off that ledge to say, okay, you said you wanted to own a business. Now you got to really go out there and do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and what's interesting is if you read some of the testimonials that people have written, it's kind of impressive how many people I've pushed off the ledge.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes you just need that shove, right?
Yeah. And that's what I got, right? I had no idea if this was going to be a business. It started out extremely small. It was $45 for the year to join, which it's a little more than that now.
Yeah.
But we put $4,000 on a credit card and we jumped.
Yeah.
And we have figured out so much since then, and it continues to evolve. And that's how you survive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like you don't know what you don't know until you get there. And that's why shows like this are important to give people encouragement and inspiration. It's what we try to do with our podcast, Local Matters.
Yeah.
The same thing, sharing the stories of these business owners. Because you never know who's listening and who needs whatever information you just gave them.
So, and I would tell everybody out there, go to the website, check out all the information, but listen to all the podcasts with all of the locally owned folks, because there are so many amazing stories of how people have started their business. Thank you so much for having me on.
Oh, I love getting your story. It was that's one of the best parts of my job, right? Is helping people tell their story. And you have an incredible one. And I just really thank you for sharing so much of it with us.
Well, you're welcome. I like I said to you, and John's going to laugh. He's our producer tonight. When we got married, he promised to listen to all my long stories. So I have way too many. But what I do want to say really quickly too, I've had a few young women in the last few months who have gotten into the wedding industry, who have reached out and said, "Hey, can I pick your brain about what it was like to start a business and how did you do it? Like, what did you do?" I think you are a great resource for that as well. Like, what would be one piece of advice you would give to someone that is thinking about starting their own business?
Yeah. So we're going to I have written up a checklist for starting your business. It lives in the blog on indianaowned.com, so you can search for it there. But my number one piece of advice is do not get on the internet and go to the library.
Yeah.
Go to the library. Look up books about starting a business. Look up books written by people who are doing what you're doing. Actually read. Don't scan headlines on the internet. Don't read some blog article that has not been verified, that does not have sources for the information they're sharing, right? Go to the library first. Then, after you go to the library, after you've checked out some books, after you've taken some notes, then get online and Google what I wish I knew before starting XYZ business. You'd be amazed at what you can learn from other people's mistakes.
Yeah. Great advice. One thing I wish I had done was talk to some other people in the industry within our market. That's one thing I did not do. But a lot of these young ladies have reached out to me here locally, and they're not competitors. They're not floral designers, but they are in the wedding industry. And so, we probably have a good chance of working together at some point. And so I'm just really grateful that they even ask for the advice, you know. I am in my 5th year of business, and I cannot believe it. In fact, yesterday, I don't know what made me think of this, but I thought I need to look up and see, like, look in all of my records and see how many weddings I've actually done. By the time I hit the end of this year, I will have done 125 weddings.
That's awesome.
Which is insane.
That's awesome.
It's crazy. And then, we're almost 4 years in here with the Art Center, and, still really making a difference here in this community. And so, yeah, it's just crazy how all that stuff works out. If you listen to the right advice, align yourself with the right organizations like Indiana Owned, to provide you with all of the right resources. So, yeah.
And something else too that I want to explain that makes us different than a chamber or something, like Indiana Grown, which we're becoming a partner of, right? There's great resources out there. But something that makes us different is that we are not associated with the government in any way. We are not lobbyists in any way, right? It is a female-owned business. We are an S Corp.
Yeah.
I am the final decision maker.
Yeah.
So it's very easy for us to develop partnerships. It's very easy for us to promote things because there's not a lot of red tape that everything has to go through. Yeah. And because I don't have a boss and I don't have anybody I have to answer to, I'm just straight up with you.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm going to tell you if it's a great idea or if I don't think it's a great idea, or let's not do that. Or, oh, you know what? I don't want my logo on that.
Yeah.
I'll tell you. Right? Like, there's a little box on the application form that says you agree to our mission. And if we discover your business is doing things that go against our mission, we will take away your membership.
Yeah.
And I can do that.
Yeah.
Because we're a private company.
Yeah.
And when I say we are here to create healthier, stronger communities and more jobs in Indiana, I mean it.
Yeah.
And I will do what I need to do to show off what's great about our state and keep it great.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's another thing I love about you too, is how passionate you are about Indianapolis. And we live and breathe that every day as well. So
this is my dining room.
Yeah. Yeah. So
and there's a state fair picture that goes here, an original pencil drawing of the state fair, like when it opened.
Oh, nice.
It needs to be framed to go right in that middle part.
So, the Nap Lab poster that is
I have that as well. That's
so we have
another
that
room.
in the hall right there, and we have one at home.
Yeah.
Too. So,
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And see, and that's what, so if I were to run for mayor, which technically I can't because I don't live in Marion County anymore.
Dang it.
I know, right? Let's get me a condo.
Yeah.
But I mean, it'd be all about the neighborhoods. When people can tell you a name of where they live and not a side of town, it makes a huge difference.
Oh my gosh.
And that's what I love about that map.
Yeah.
Is it tells you the name.
Yeah.
Right? Mars Hill means something.
Yes.
Irvington means something. Augusta means something. New Augusta means something.
Yeah.
Right? But people have no idea where Mars Hill is.
Yeah.
Unless they've probably met you or me or John.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Same thing with if I'd be like, oh, I live in New Augusta. People would be like, where is that? And I'm like,
that's where we live. That's where my girls graduated from Pike, and we lived in New Augusta.
I'm like, it's like the oldest train depot in the state and the oldest historical building in the state. Like, how do you not know about this? Right. And I have to remember, people aren't like us.
Yeah.
Right. They're not necessarily nerding out on all of these facts. So I was in the Jamestown Library yesterday. It's an old bank building. And they have this entire section of just all books about Indiana in the old bank vault. And I may be like the first person who's gone in that vault for who knows, how many years. But I was so excited. I was so excited. But when you know the history, when you understand how we got here, we can just make such a difference in the community.
Yes.
We really can.
Absolutely. I'm going to say amen to that 100 times over. So I cannot tell you how much fun this has been, and I am so grateful to you for so many reasons.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yes, likewise. So share away. So how can people find you?
Yeah, best way is indianaowned.com. We are on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on LinkedIn. We're even on TikTok. I don't even have TikTok on my phone, but we're on TikTok.
Okay.
So there's a lot of great stuff coming up. And if you want to meet in person, we have an awesome tour at the city market coming up. We're going to be doing some networking in the Tomlinson Tap Room and then take private tours of the catacombs. One of the best kept secrets in Indianapolis that we do not want to be a secret anymore.
Yeah.
So check it out at indianaowned.com/events. We'd love to see you there.
Yay. Okay. Mel, thank you so much.
Thank you. This has been so much fun.
Yes. Okay. You guys go find her. Look up all the things, follow all the things. And if you're a locally owned business, sign up.
Sign up.
Best thing you've ever done.
Thank you so much, Lisa.
Thank
I appreciate your support and everything you do for the community.
Oh, likewise. Thank you. Have a good night.
You too. Thanks.